We are live.
All right, thank you. Good evening. This is a virtual special meeting of the Finance Committee. Today is Wednesday, June 4th, 2025. It is 4:29. Sorry, 1 minute early, guys. Sorry. But we're on Microsoft Teams. There, 4:30 now. All right. In attendance on Jennifer Perez, the committee chair, Mr. Medina, committee members online. We also have Mr. Traber and Mr. Benahan. Let's see. Any other board members? I think that's all the board members. And then Dr. Avery is also online. So we'll go ahead and get started. The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from May 21st, 2025. Mr. Medina, do you want to move that?
Can you hear me?
I hear you now, yeah. It's a little soft. A little low. Are you moving it?
Yes, I said so move.
There we go. I hear you now. I'll second that. Any questions on that? Debate? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, that is gonna pass. The next item on the agenda is the detailed breakdown of 8 to 9 central office staff positions eliminated in the fiscal year 25-26 proposed budget. Dr. Avery is gonna take over there.
Through the chair, I wanted to make sure I give the board an update of what's happening regarding the central office 8 to 9 positions. I have worked with Nestor to kind of quantify the dollar amounts that we say that we were going to be able to calculate for the savings that we have regarding those positions. I would like to have a conversation with the entire board on Monday regarding some detailed specifics. There are still a few of those positions that have not been solidified quite yet due to some legal things that we're having to kind of work through with HR currently. So again, I need to talk with the board about that as well. But it looks really good, to be able to say we have the dollars to make sure that the budget is balanced moving forward. So in addition to that, we will, expand upon the conversation around how I would like to reorganize the district moving forward as well. So again, a little bit more detailed conversation with the entire board if the committee would like to move this item to the full board.
I want to acknowledge that Ms. Esther Jimenez is members in the call, and so is Mr. Sokolovic, a board member. For this item, Dr. Avery, it's actually not on the agenda to refer to the full board. It's not written that way. So it's definitely something we could talk about when we talk about the budget on Monday.
Yes, absolutely. It'll tie in directly into the budget, and so I'll be glad to kind of give a little bit more details. Things should be solidified by then with some of the things that we were trying to hold off on through some legal maneuvering that we had to do. So I would like to be able to bring that back up if you don't mind. So we can definitely lump it in because it also is part of the budget that's going to be referred to the full board as well as a line item of the cost savings that's behind the scenes of the entire budget as well.
Mr. Medina, do you have any questions on this item for Dr. Avery?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Ms. Esther Jimenez, one number 2.
No, not at this time.
Their hands up. Any other hands? No. So we do expect a full breakdown of that on Monday's meeting. So
yes,
I know, Dr. I know you've already talked about what you're gonna be doing. So we'll have that out for Monday. Then we have the updated and possible delay on the budget gap cost saving measures, particularly regarding 2 administrators on special assignments, 4 assistant principals, 1 counselor, and 1 supervisor of alternative education.
Yeah, Through the chair, thank you. I want to kind of emphasize to the committee that these positions, the 2 administrators on special assignment, the 4 assistant principals, 1 counselor, and 1 supervisor of alternative education, has already been approved to eliminate, by the board. But what I'm asking, the board to consider is to postpone the elimination of these positions until June of 2026. Due to the fact that I have about 3 to 4 tenured administrators that will be looking to retire come November, December of this next year. So due to the fact that we are very limited in our administrative staff, it would be helpful to the district, as I look at the reorganization piece, to postpone these eliminations until June of 2026. The cost savings, of doing that is only going to be saving the district about, I think it's like about $8,000. So it's almost like we did when we did the assistant principals. When we delayed them, it wasn't going to be that big of a cost savings because a lot of those principals will go back into teaching positions. But again, this will give us an opportunity to take the full brunt of the savings because these individuals will be retiring. Well, at least half of these individuals will be retiring.
Mr. Medina?
Yes, on that number, I was trying to look at my notes throughout after our meeting and everything. And I just want to make sure you have all those numbers correct. It's my understanding on the process of the assistant principals and those positions that we eliminated in the cost savings. You got to always also keep into account that those people might have bumping rights into a teacher positions, and then those teachers will bump those that are being run by Kelly Services. So I think the cost savings, I think it might be off, and I don't know, Nestor, you can probably help me with that to confirm that, because that's the way we knew the numbers to be, that if they have bumping rights, then we would also save on that end, because we don't have to have Kelly Services cover those classrooms.
I don't see Nestor online. Nestor,
He's online.
He's on.
I am.
Okay.
Well, through Madam Chair, the bottom line is a principal, assistant principal or administrator filling a teaching position. What it does ultimately, it forces a Kelly long-term sub or substitute teacher out, meaning that we will get a net savings of approximately $46,000 a year. That's pretty much the net effect. Per long-term sub per year. Make sense? So when
Mr.
they,
Medina,
can you hear me? When they force out a long-term sub, that means the district will save $46,000 a year for not retaining or hiring that long-term sub from Kelly.
That's correct.
Sorry, guys, I just got back. There was some connections issues.
Okay, let me start all over. The savings, the net savings, the actual savings of an administrator forcing out a long-term Kelly sub is $46,000 a year. One position, let me be clear. It's actually, I think it's 46.7, but use 46, 46.7, 46.8. It doesn't make any difference. That gives you an idea.
Mr. Medina, I know you had lost connection.
Yep, I'm good now. So yeah, that just confirms my notes that I had from before, that there will be a considerably bigger savings than just the 8,000. So we're looking at probably about 370,000 or plus on those positions. But double check that, and look, that's not being voted on now. That'll be at the board. So just want to confirm. Thank you.
Through Madam Chair, if I understand from Dr. Avery, it's actually 6 months because if those veteran principals or assistant principals retire, they will retire middle of the year. So it's only a 6 month cost, if I'm correct, Dr. Avery.
Nodding his head yes.
Which is 6 months,
Um,
which is 50% of the 46,000 in a nutshell. Per
Mr. Reedy, do you
position.
have more questions or?
No, I said thank you. Nope.
Okay.
Not at
Ms.
this moment.
Shamira Jimenez?
Yeah, I have two questions. So I just want to make sure that I'm following properly. The $8,000 difference is from keeping them on from now all the way to November, correct? Because then we would have these additional folks would be getting replaced. Well, there's existing folks in their seats right now, but they would be retiring. So my question is twofold. Is that where the $8,000 come from? And then secondly, do we have already resignation letters or retirement paperwork confirming that those folks are indeed leaving in November?
We do not have a written confirmation of that, but just a verbal confirmation of those retirements. And again, these individuals have been in the district for 20 plus years, and they're very staple, reliable employees in the district. So we felt the courtesy of being able to allow them to stay in those positions for the time. I feel very confident that we're going to be able to get those resignations, and then we are able to pay. If they retire mid-year, some of the other administrators on special assignment can fill the void for the rest of the year. So in return, it's just a better way to treat the employees that are at the end of their career. They've given the district many, many years to work through it that way. So that definite letter, we have not done that yet. But again, I think it's important that we at least give a little bit of grace to allow them to make their plans and exit out and not do it so abruptly now, where we're bumping people from positions and things like that. So that was a conversation that I had with HR and some of my staff as well. So great question, but I think I will circle back around regarding those individuals as well to get a clear picture of the timing that they need and work through it as well and update the board as well.
Thank you. And then,
Oh, sorry,
my-
you had two questions, but sorry, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, my secondary, sorry, my son, my secondary question was the confirmation of the $8,000. Is that where that figure is coming from? It's the difference? Can you explain that again, please?
What that means is that if they bump down into another position, you keep them at the same salary. Dom, you may be able to help me explain this better. Am I correct with that, Dom? Or Nestor?
Honestly, Dom.
So, Madam Chair, when an assistant principal is laid off, they have option to become a teacher. If they downgrade to being a teacher, they only lose $1,000 of their current rate of pay for the first year.
That's correct. And that's where that
Got it.
$1,000 comes into play
Times
when
the
you
eight.
calculate the savings if we did it now. And so we would gain a lot more than that if we allow them to go through at least that half year. You grab half of that salary. So I think that's
Got
the rationale that I tried to explain. Am I correct, Nestor?
Yeah.
Understood. Thank you. I'm all set.
Mr. Colloway.
Yeah, a couple of things. Initially, we started saying we had a balanced budget that's based on numbers that are not clear at this point. After some discussions at the state level, some numbers may have to shift around a little. When the numbers become clearer, we may not have, in fact, a balanced budget, depending upon the numbers and how certain funds got to be spent. So we need to look at that. That's 1.1. Point two, we laid off and eliminated over 100 plus positions The reason why I referred twice to committee over the last couple of months is to set the hierarchy of returning, and so all those positions could be considered to be given all the same due respect as the board wants to rank them with their proportion. If we realize the yearly savings and nobody comes back to Bridgeport and we just do if everybody bumps all 8 positions, let's assume they all got bumping rights. That's $368,000 savings. That's nearly enough to bring back the whole art program. But the board has not weighed in yet on what we want. We haven't given you our thoughts. We haven't given you our feelings about any of these positions. There's a hierarchy. Do we bring back, is it more beneficial to bring back these positions for 6 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, whatever have you, or put another psychologist or social worker or 2 on for the year? We haven't discussed that. That's why I want this on the committee level for us to discuss what we want to bring back. It's been made clear through CABE. It's been made clear through all our trainings that the budget is within our purview, totally 100% to approve, unapprove. All these cuts were voted on, like the librarians. So right now, it's rather than having on the agenda a hierarchy of cuts to replace, as dictated by the board, as requested by a board member twice, the superintendent has asked, no, this superintendent, this is not your problem, not your issue, this is a board issue. Asked once, and it's here, and we're ready to make a decision. I think this decision should be paused until the board creates the hierarchy of what the board wants back, and all these positions be given the same due respect as the positions being mentioned now, because all of our employees have worked with us for a long time. Yeah, that's all I got for now.
Mr. Traber? Yeah, mute, so.
I know. I just gotta find the button, that's all. Takes me a second. The only thing I just wanted was just a question. If we go forward with the cuts as we voted before, these 8 positions would go down $1,000 in pay, and would work a lower position than they had been working before, or the administrative positions, I should say, would take $1,000 pay cut and bump into a educator position in the teacher bargaining unit. The only one I see on this list is a counselor. Now that counselor is already in the educator bargaining unit, correct? Yes, I see Dominic and the superintendent shaking
Yes.
their, yes. So the rest of them are administrative positions, the other 7. And those 7 would be affected by the $1,000 pay cut. So they would be making substantially more money than they would as educators for the next year. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, by doing this, the 4 positions that you're referring to that would be retiring sometime this fall, if I
Yes,
understood you correctly,
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
correct.
we would then not have any resignation, unemployment money to pay. They would be going into the teacher retirement fund. Am I correct about that, Dominic?
Dom, I have to let you answer that question. I'm not 100% sure.
I'm sorry, if they're retiring, did you say?
Yes, what I heard initially was they're going to retire.
Yes.
The resignation word keeps getting mixed in here, but
Yes,
retirement. is
retirement,
what I
there'd be
heard
no unemployment.
Initially, what?
In retirement, no unemployment.
Right.
Resignation,
So
yes.
then there's no continuing cost to us. We've talked in the past about laying people off. We have a continuing cost
Yes.
of the unemployment cost. But with retirement, there's no continuing cost to us, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So by letting these people continue to work, the only continuing cost is some fraction of that $1,000 difference for that part of the year. So for the sake of this discussion, $300 or $400, $300, $400, of the year. right?
Correct.
That is correct.
You know, September, October, November, 3 months out of the 10 months in the year.
That is correct.
Is that correct, Dominic?
That is correct.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
And with the counselor, that person, I presume, would continue to work the whole year. So that's a position we're continuing to leave on for the whole year.
That's correct.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right.
Through Madam Chair, if I may chime in, Dr. In reference to the counselors, again, the extension of that particular counselor, if there is a counselor position that retired or leaves the city on their own during the course of the year, again, it's up to the board if they choose not to fill that position to compensate for the extension of this counselor. Meaning that this counselor being extended will backfill that future retirement or future resignation.
Well, we're just going to incur the cost of that counselor for the
For the time.
for the 2, 3, 4 months that she continues to work.
Right.
And, you know, that's a decision that we need to make,
Mhm.
having made the decision initially to eliminate that position,
Mhm. Yep.
to retain that position.
Yep.
I'm not judging it one way or the other. I'm just making sure I understand what we're being asked.
Yep.
Or will be asked,
Mhm.
Based on this agenda. So, you know, I was getting confused by the different questions, and I want to make sure I understand. So 7 out of these 8 positions are administrative and affected by the $1,000 rule. One of them is not.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. Thank you. That's all my questions.
I see Mr. Woodson also joined the call, so I want to add him to the attendance. Are there any further questions on this item? All right, I see none. So we're going to go on to the next item, which is discussion of possible referrals to the full board of the fiscal year 25-26 operating budget. Not sure.
Nestor gonna take this one.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Basically, we've come towards the end of the budget, FY 25-26 budget. The board, the finance committee, the full board has voted on all the cuts, line item cuts, I should say, and program cuts intended to be implemented next year in order to have a balanced budget. So based on that, it totals about $33 million. If the line items are there, everybody had seen it before. But based on that, the bottom line is that the total budget for next year, that the board will be operating budget, including alliance budget, the total is $296 million, $890, $296,890,192. And that is the total budget allocation or appropriation that the board or the finance committee should be, or we're asking the committee to adopt tonight to become next year budget, district budget, which needs to be ratified by the board on the 9th.
So today we're just ratifying, or we're moving to ratify the $296,890,192 operating budget.
Yep. That's all we're asking, because every other action relating to that number has been taken by the full board.
Mr. Medina, I'll start with you.
Just for the sake of my busyness of all day, I didn't see that. Is that data that you just sent, Mr. Nestor, in the portal right now for this meeting, or no?
It's been in the portal since yesterday, I believe.
Okay, thank you.
Or day before yesterday. I don't know when.
Thank you very much.
It's in the
I'm
portal.
getting confirmation from the board members that are shaking their heads, so I thank you. Asked and answered. Thank you, boss.
Thank you.
Mrs. Ramirez,
No further questions.
Mrs. Sakalovic.
I believe Mr. Traber had his hand up first.
Okay, I don't see the numbers. So, Mr. Traber?
You're on mute.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mr. Skalovic. I simply wanted to ask you, since it's been up for a day or two, there are things moving faster than all of us can even imagine in the last 24, 48 hours. So this proposal is not based on current reality, as I understand it. And no disrespect to you, Mr. Naquo. But as we all know, the legislature has been pushing around numbers and issuing bills. The budget bill came out yesterday. The bond bill came out of the House this morning and is being debated in the Senate as we speak. And God only knows where everything's going to end up based on what I heard an hour ago. So we're all waiting on pins and needles to see what the reality is that we're living with. So I don't really know how we can vote on anything until we get what our real reality is, which is a sort of contradiction in terms, I guess. But so I do respect what you proffered us, but I don't know how we can really realistically vote on anything until we find out the end game that comes out of Hartford.
Dr. Ebery, do you want to handle or do you want me to?
Go ahead and I'll follow you up as you. At the
Again,
end.
through Madam Chair, the numbers, I mean, everybody here, everybody on the floor, I don't think anybody has the final right answer. Numbers are flying all over, and it depends who you ask. People with different interpretations, different opinions, to be very honest with everyone. But what I've seen so far, not all, there's not a whole sort of significant change relative to Bridgeport School District. I guess what I'm trying to say here, if anybody's expecting millions of dollars more to pour into Bridgeport District, nobody has indicated that.
I would actually disagree with you. But the question is exactly how many millions that's going to be. And you know, I can't read what you have got here, because if I go off my screen, I can read it on my laptop, but I can't read it on my cell phone. But since this is an online meeting, I don't know how to do it on my laptop.
Through Madam Chair, okay, through Madam Chair, if I may, let me clarify something. Let's go to where the number there. We know that the city of Bridgeport gave the district 3.125 million additional next year. That's reflected in this report.
That's not going to change.
Not going to change.
We know that.
What do you have for ECS money there? We
know that ECS is a $10.4 million increase is what we have here. That 47.9 million. That's what we incorporated here, ECS. And we incorporated 5.8 million for special ed, based on the assumption of 120. So it's when you net it all out, I don't think we are going to be way positive, to be very honest with everyone.
We're hearing higher numbers than that. Now, how much higher, we don't know. That's all I'm saying. I don't know that it's going to be a lot higher, but we're hearing higher. So I'm just saying that it's going to change some. And we'll know by Monday's meeting, but we don't know today. Because they're up there arguing about the bond bill right now. And there's supposed to be money in the bond bill.
Bond bill for the school district?
Yes, actually, and that's not capital bond.
Okay.
So I'm just saying, Nestor, this is an unusual year, and
yes, it is.
We're hearing unusual things, and so there's no disrespect meant to you. This is what's going on in Hartford, which is fakakta, basically. You know, we should vote this budget out. You know, then you're going to have to adjust it come Friday when you have better numbers. that we know from Hartford.
That's fine, that's fine. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
yeah.
fine.
Through the chair,
I
can
don't
I?
have a vote. I don't have a vote. I'm just,
Yeah,
allowed
Dr.
to
Avery?
express an opinion, and that's what I've done.
And Mr. Trevor, thank you for that. I think that's, you solidified kind of what I was going to be talking about as well. I think what Nestor is trying to do is that we've done, the board have done a great job of working with administration to cut the budget. And we've slashed everything. We're at rock bottom in what we're providing our children across the district. And to get to this point, to get a balanced budget without even considering any additional dollars that we may get from the state, I think every other dollar that we get in addition to, above the balanced budget is something like what Mr. Sokolovic talked about. Then the board is going to be able to, rank the things that the board wants to consider that we brought back. So once we know we got a balanced budget, and then if we get $5, $10, $15 million at when all said and done, then we can start doing the things that the board has wanted us to do to bring these positions back. But I think it's important. I know in my conversation with the commissioner a week or so ago, she was concerned that we haven't passed the budget. But like I told her, is that we go through a process in this district, in an urban school district, to really ratifying the budget, making sure that we have that balanced budget. And we worked really, really hard to get where we are. And we don't even know the future unless we get more dollars. And so the hope is that we're going to see those dollars come in over the next day or so. But again, just moving this budget, knowing that it's balanced, to Monday, and by Monday, hopefully we'll have a whole new light, cast on, a positive light cast on Bridgeport Public Schools. And so that's my hope as well. And I'm watching things, and I've also had 5 different interpretations of what we're getting. And so I'm all over the place as well as I follow this thing. So, but I'm hopeful that we're going to get those dollars. And I see a little bit of increase, but they're not substantial increases, $1 million here, $1 million there, but I won't call that an impactful amount, right? So,
Madam Chair, if I may, I just want to make something clear. The numbers I've seen will not, so far, unless there's something hidden in the woods that hasn't been unveiled, the numbers I've seen will not bring a significant change to what you're adopting tonight. Let's understand, this budget is squeaky tight. Will it hold? I'll try my best. That's all I can say. I will try my best. It is squeaky tight. A budget this tight or squeaky tight without a contingency is pretty scary. There's no contingency amount in this budget, and it's squeaky tight. It's very scary. I'm going to be honest with everyone.
And if I may, Madam Chair, say, I deeply appreciate that comment, Mr. Nakul. I do recognize the difficulty of the task that you have been working on, and that we go through every year on this Board of Ed. Thank you.
Mr. Sokolovic?
Yeah, I'm not as optimistic as Mr. Traber is about additional dollars. I do have a significant concern. Some of the consistent information I'm getting from various people is that 5.68 number.
5.833.
That number is not. That number was based on 124 million.
That is correct.
That appears at this point in time, unless information changes, that it's only going to be 40 million. So we're back to the 1.8 whatever. So that's the significant shift. However, there's also an additional $30 million in a different bucket, but that bucket seems to be restricted to special education uses and may not be able to be transferred from budget to budget. So we got to really, really look at that money and see the net effect on the operating budget, because that's basically in essence what we're looking to pass. And I would caution the board, I would caution us against pressure from the, even from the state of passing a budget and rushing it through. If we rush things through due to fear of this commissioner, we could do irreparable harm to our district. You see Mayor Elica talking today, got press release. This doesn't satisfy us. We still got to lay people off. Their budget's not finished. They're not done yet. They're still working through the numbers because now they just got the numbers that the state's coming out with, and they got more solid numbers. We are ahead of the game. The law is we cannot start the year in a deficit. We still got some time to approve the budget. And if we do approve the budget, I say we need to do it with a qualifier that this budget is subject to additional, what you call, I forget what you call it, additional cuts. That's Mr. Nicole, could you help me out with some, what's the word?
Budget balancing actions, mid-year budget balancing actions.
Right, and also, and the on the plus or minus side. Because what I don't want to do is approve every single thing in this budget as gospel and then have to come back and change, and we already have voted on it. So we definitely would need a qualifier for that.
Mhm.
To
I think that's
maintain.
something we could definitely add in when we do put the motion through.
Thank you.
No,
That's all I
Mr.
have.
Bennahan? I'm sorry, Mr. Pavlik. Mr. Bennahan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to go back what Mr. Nelson said about this budget is very, delicate and everything. But I want to say something for the record. I know us, the board members. I know Dr. Avery. I know the city, parents, students, everyone. We did the best to be sure a budget had to go through what funding of Bridgeport Public School. Nobody can say that Bridgeport Public School board members, Dr. Avery, the cabinet, we never did nothing. We showed them what we want. We showed them what our students want. We showed them what our staff want. We showed them what the district want. If they don't give it to us, that's shame of heart for them, period. Because I know the city's trying to work with us. They was with us. And, everybody know what we going through Bridgeport Day and May 8 when the student went to speak to everyone. So we showed them everyone, black and the white and color. Nobody can say that Bridgeport Public School, they're not doing the job. I just want to put that for the record. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Tabor?
Yes, I don't disagree, but I don't know how Mayor Elicker can be saying he didn't get it because the damn thing's not done. They're still debating up there right now, and there's still people trying to drive the deadline to midnight. So I just think that it's all still iffy right now. And they're still trying to drag their feet and drive the deadline into midnight. And that would require then having to have special sessions. So I just think that I do agree with the point that Mr. Sokolovic made, that we may find ourselves tomorrow not knowing still, even with their midnight deadline. And if that's the case, no matter what the commissioner says, we can't be irresponsible about the budget. And so if we find out at the end of the week that the legislature has not concluded successfully its budget and that there are pieces that are still unresolved, that, we need to be prudent stewards of the budget and do what is appropriate and in the best interest of our district. And that we'll decide on Monday night. So I would agree with Mr. Sokolovic about that. That, whatever it is, putting in the qualifiers that you just referred to, Ms. Perez, or however you would characterize what steps we take or what precautions we take to make sure that we have the flexibility to be cautious and maintain our options, so that we maximize what's best for our district and don't lock ourselves into things that aren't good for our district. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any committee members want to make a motion to move this to the full board? And then we'll definitely have that, a deeper discussion on Monday when we find out.
I can try to make a motion. If I misquote anything, feel free to let me know. So I motion to, it's item number 4, right? Discussion and possible referral to the full board. Okay.
Yeah, so refer.
Yep. So motion to refer to the full board of the fiscal year 25-26 operating budget.
I can second it. Any further debate? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay. The next, so we'll talk more about that on Monday. The next item, is a discussion of possible referral, to the full board on, the following contracts. So the first one was the JFK campus painting of swimming pool room and the ceiling. And I think Jamie is on to that. Yeah, I see you. Okay.
Good evening. Through you, Madam Chair. We would like to present 2 new contracts to the board. The first being the JFK campus painting. It's going to be painting the swimming pool ceiling and walls. We would like to do this project this summer. We had put this out to bid on OpenGov through the city purchasing department. We had 4 attendees come to the walkthrough. We had 2 submittals. We did a scope review with the lowest bidder, and then we moved to request that the city attorney finalize the contract in order to present it to you tonight. This project and the next one that I present are both capital funded projects.
Committee members, do you have any questions on this? Any other board members have any questions on this? Or Ms. Esther Mary Jimenez?
I was just going to say I do not have questions.
Seeing no questions or hands up, and if I'm missing one, just let me know. But is there a motion to move the JFK campus painting and swimming pool room and ceiling contract?
So moved.
Any second? I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That one moves. And so the next one is the Howland School restroom, first floor.
Thank you. Yes, this we also put out to bid. We had 3 attendees at the walkthrough, 1 submittal. What we did with this bid is we put out each floor's restroom separately in order to see if we were going to be able to come into budget. All 3 floors came a little over budget. And because of the timeline, we only have about 6 to 8 weeks in the summer to complete projects like this. We decided to go with the first floor for this summer to renovate it. The lowest came in at $88,788 for the first floor renovation. This is also capital funded.
Thank you. Committee members, any questions? Seeing none, other board members, any questions? Is there a motion to move the Howland School restroom first floor to the full board?
So moved.
All right, I'll second it. Any further debate? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? One more. We have the Relay Hub Student Medicaid Building Reimbursement.
That's me.
That's Tony? Okay. Thank you,
Yeah,
Jamie.
that's me.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, through the chair. The item before you is, and let me dispel the whole thing about relay. It's not the same relay as we've had the opportunity to discuss in previous meetings. So rest assured that this relay, it was actually, it's actually a company that was formerly called CompuClaim. And the purpose of this contract is to help the district recover the maximum amount of money for Medicaid reimbursement activities. So we've been utilizing PCG, which is the parent company of the parent company that administers the IEP system, the special ed IEP system. And they're short in terms of meeting our needs to claim all of the Medicaid activities that we perform on a daily basis, both from an out-of-district standpoint and from a charter school standpoint. So we consulted with the technical assistance team from the state, and they referred this company, who represents over 100 districts in the state of Connecticut, and they're very versed on maximizing all of the Medicaid reimbursements. So this is before you to consider and to refer to the full board so that we can move ahead and implement this as soon as possible, so we can maximize our revenue streams. Any questions?
I have one. Just to confirm, like, so currently we haven't been maximizing. So like in the districts I've worked for or been a part of, you know, social work services, PT, OT, speech path services, that's all the billable things. And is that what we're talking about here? Or is
Yes,
there additional?
yes.
Okay.
Those are all Medicaid eligible services, provided that the student who receives the services is Medicaid eligible. So there's a whole validation process that needs to take place, and the system does that for us in terms of parental consent, whether or not the child, you know, they're a valid Medicaid recipient, and they'll process all of those claims on our behalf.
Any committee members or questions? Now move on to somebody else. I see no hands. Mr. Sakalovic?
Yeah, a couple of quick questions. Okay, you answered some of them. Is just Medicaid reimbursables? What if like Husky and other?
So the cost associated with, for example, paying Relay for the services, that's Medicaid reimbursable. We can claim that on our cost analysis reimbursable claim to the state. Yes.
Okay, and what's the hit on this one's got to be operating budget? What's the hit on the operating budget?
They work on a percentage of funds collected, so they're really it pays for itself.
Okay, and the percentage of funds collected, is that percentage of new funds collected above and beyond? Or if they collect below what we collected last year, do they still get paid a percentage of what they collected?
No, they get paid based on the funds collected, period. But we expect that the number of collectible funds will increase dramatically. Because
I would hope so.
Right, exactly. So the more we pay, the more that means we're getting a lot more money.
All right, so they're incentivized to
Right.
find every dollar they can. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
No further questions. Is there a motion to move this to the full board? The Relay Hub special student Medicaid billing reimbursement?
So moved.
Ms. Medina, I can second that. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, that one goes through. The last item on the agenda, discussion of possible referrals to the full board of the RFP for the Bridgeport Board of Education legal services.
I can speak to that. So
Okay, go ahead, Tony.
This is the issuance of the RFP for our legal services for the Board of Education. We've had the same legal firm for the last 7 years, and it's according to ordinance, we're supposed to put it out to bid. They've been extended for a couple of years beyond the 5-year period, and this is the process that needs to happen so that we can solicit the best, cheapest, hopefully, legal firm to represent the board and the district.
I also want to clarify that. Oh, go ahead, Dr. Maybe you can answer.
Yeah,
probably answer my question. Or
I just
Go
wanted to
ahead.
make sure. I wanted to make sure that the committee understands that, again, this is the process. The process was going to happen last year, but previous administration and the board decided to do an extension. And so this is the end of the extension. I think it's up June 30th.
June
And so
30th.
right. We're trying to just kind of get, the RFP opportunity out on the street. The board will have, an opportunity to collaborate with the city attorney's office, in selecting someone. So I really want to make that clear. Part of the charter says that we have to go through the city attorney's office in order to solicit, legal services. And so that's kind of what we're doing. It's a collaborative effort. We're looking forward to kind of collaborating with them, but ultimately the board has the final decision on selecting who they feel would best represent the district.
I want to clarify that, we talked during the line items earlier this month or last month about utilizing a city attorney as the board attorney and hiring one. And that's something that's a different thing right now. This is just for our outside attorneys for when we can't use city attorney. So that is still in the works, and that's something that we're going to be doing along with the city attorney and selecting a city attorney that represents the board. But this is the outside firm that we would contract for if there's any conflicts of interest or if it's something that the city attorney can't handle. So I just want to clarify that with the board. So any questions from, and our goal for this is to reduce the cost significantly from what we've paid in the past. So any questions from committee members first? The hands, so I'm going to go with, I think Mr. Skolodic had his hand up first. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, a couple of things as on your clarification. Yes, it's two totally separate things. But we should have been utilizing the city attorney for routine matters all the time. What I don't, right? What they're free to assign us a strict attorney, but what they are not free to do is to bill us for that attorney. They don't bill any other department for the use of the attorney, so they should not be billing the Board of Education for the use of their attorney.
Mr.
They
Sokolovic,
represent all. I'm sorry, did I misspeak, Mr. Pipes?
No, you're absolutely correct. And for the most part, we do utilize the city attorney's office to review RFPs, some contracts, mostly all the lease agreements, all of those things that we entered that are basically the legal stuff, and we do not get billed by them. Sometimes they're a little slow in turning it around, but other than that, they do provide that service for us at no cost. This type of firm that we're soliciting is more for sometimes in labor negotiations, mediation stuff, board representations, things of that nature where the city attorney's office might feel conflicted or might feel that it'd be really better served with an independent attorney. So that's what this is for. Now, it behooves us to be good traffic cop in deciding what to utilize the city attorney's office for versus a pay per service, which is rather expensive at times when you utilize the attorney's hours. So that you're right, that's probably one of the things that we need to kind of be more alert to and cognizant of.
Right. And that being said, another thing about the RFP itself, I don't have it open in front of me. There are some deliverables that are duplicative of what we get with CABE, so that may drive up the price. For instance, some of the trainings CABE already has to provide us. So if the firms are looking at this and they got to provide us like instruction on professional development on our bylaws and or some of the deliverables that are already being delivered by CABE as well as
Oh yeah, because we can certainly remove those items from, but I wanted to be all inclusive in there, so so it'll give us the flexibility to utilize their services as long as they understand that if we're not using them, you're not billing us for us, even though you're able to provide it to us.
Right. Yeah, because I don't. It might factor into the. I would think it could possibly factor into the price. I would charge somebody if I knew they could get 10 free hours, because nothing is free. Nobody's providing any services for free. These are bonus services that will be built into the hourly cost and hourly rate that they provide us.
Right,
So that's my concern, is not
Yeah.
that they're gonna charge us $300 to do.
yeah, yeah.
professional
Well, we could be more
they're gonna put
specific
that
when,
into the- right.
yeah, we could be more specific to that as we develop a contract with the firm that we decide to. And again, you have the opportunity to interview these firms as they respond to the RFP. And we can clarify that up front with them before we award the contract.
Okay, thank you, that's all I have.
Tabor?
Yeah, Mr. Pires, this posting, is boilerplate, correct?
Correct.
Same one you used last time?
That's the one that we were going to use last time, and we pulled it because we extended it for a year.
Same one you used 7 years ago?
No, there's some modifications on there from 7 years ago.
Okay. And, you said this, was a 5-year contract? And it's
Yes,
7 years in, so I'm assuming somebody made a decision 2 years ago not to post it either.
correct.
It was extended a year then,
Yes, sir.
in the summer of 23.
That is correct.
That was extended by Ms. Perrin and the new superintendent,
I believe it was Ms. Perrin at the time.
because there was a transition going on.
Possibly right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. I don't recall either. I was on the board then, that was in
Yeah.
transitional period. Okay, and so this is perfectly normal for us to take a look. We have negotiations coming up this fall with BCAS, I believe.
That's correct.
Okay, so this all seems fairly standard and appropriate to me, for us to take a look at, what's out there in terms of law firms. Last year, we spent a great deal of time with a lawyer from that law firm, who proved to be, quite frustrating. And so we should see who's out there, and whether or not it's a better deal. So I wholeheartedly support this, idea of seeing who's out there.
Right.
And all we're doing is seeing what's out there and what the costs are, in terms of, other law firms. And as we know from going to the Cape Caps Convention, there's a plethora of law firms who are all vying for Board of Ed business. So let's see what the, what the competition is like.
Thank you. Is there a motion to refer this to the full board for the RFP of the BBOE legal services?
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second? I'll second it.
Second.
Madam
All in
Chair,
favor, say,
Madam
yes,
Chair,
Dr. Avery?
Mr. Woodson has his hand up.
Oh, I didn't see it. Go ahead, Mr. Woodson, sorry. Mr.
Is it-
Woodson,
Is it too late?
are you there?
Is it too late? Is it too late to say anything?
I didn't vote yet. We didn't vote yet, so go ahead. You can have a final comment.
I wanted to ask, are we in the same type of transition that we were in when Ms. Perrin was superintendent?
No,
Are you
I would say
a-
no.
Are you asking me, Mr. Woodson?
Whoever wants to answer, it doesn't matter.
I would say no. She left in July, June
No, but they
of
said
that
we
year,
were,
and we still have a superintendent. Yeah.
so we're not in the transition.
No, we're not in a transition. So like we're just getting the RP out there so that we can start taking a look, seeing that we have like negotiations coming up.
And so we want to change the law firm that has been handling all our cases that we've been that we're dealing with at one time.
So I can try to answer that. So in my experience, and I was here 7 years ago when we went through this law firm from a previous law firm. If we choose a different law firm, there is an agreement between both the outgoing law firm and the incoming law firm that will handle, the previous law firm will handle any outstanding issues or any outstanding cases that they might have to its conclusion. And in new cases, the new law firm will pick those up instead of the old law firm. So there is a transition period that is an understanding agreement with both law firms.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Seeing no further questions, I will take a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's who I don't.
Aye.
Alrighty, and next we have this motion to adjourn. Is there a motion?
So moved. So it works out.
Moved by Mr. Medina. I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourning at
Aye.
5:30.
Aye.
Thank you all for presenting.
Thank you.
All right, good
Thank
night,
you.
everyone.
Good night.